Hey there, Coach Patrick back with another podcast for our beginner marathon training series. And today I'm going to talk about walking the line. Not the Johnny Cash line, but the marathon training line that runs right down the center of your fitness, that is a function of helping you decide what is good and what is bad fatigue. Okay? Marathon training is hard. Listen, I don't want to get away from the fact that you're all happy and hunky-dory and everyone's patting you on the back, you sign up for a marathon. But there's a lot of work that goes on between now and race day. And some of it is incremental work. In other words, it adds up on a weekly basis as your long runs get longer and the other workouts grow in sort of duration, and before you know it, you're putting in some good training time. But there's also more abrupt work that happens. So there's incremental work that grows over time, and there's more abrupt work that happens. The abrupt work typically happens when your training falls out of sync. So you missed a couple days because you had to go somewhere. And now, lo and behold, all of a sudden, man, I got to do like 3 runs in 2 days or something crazy, and it all starts to add up. So don't feel like you really need to start pushing yourself too hard. But what I want you to think about instead is saying, okay, I've got this total amount of fatigue that is going to come at me from my training program, and I personally have a limit, a cap to the amount of fatigue that I can sustain. Exceeding that cap begins to put you in a place where the good fatigue starts to become bad fatigue. Okay, so good fatigue in general is characterized by a little tiredness in the legs. You want to go to bed a little bit early. You might be a little sore. You're burning calories. You feel good about what you're doing overall. You might have a little nagging issue, something like that. But in general, things are moving forward. You feel good about your training. You're looking forward to the next day. Bad fatigue comes when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning. You don't really feel like running anymore. You might have a serious pain or other related issue that you've been ignoring that now has really manifested itself. Whatever the issue may be, that fatigue, which was at one point in time good and part of the process of building your fitness, has now transformed into something that's a little bit more negative, and as a result becomes something that you now need to fix. The hardest part about walking this line is ending up on the wrong side of it and realizing that 95% of the time you put yourself there. Marathon training is hard, but a lot of times we make uninformed decisions or decisions that in hindsight were not the greatest ones for our body or our training or the bigger level picture. Okay? So as you start to navigate your training plan and start building up the miles, I want you to keep a really close eye on a couple of key metrics. Number 1, good night's sleep. Most important thing you can do is sleep until the muscles recover and the rest of your body does as well. Don't underestimate the stress that your training is now putting on your work, your home life, everything else that you do. And so good sleep helps you process all of that. So make sure that you're getting good sleep, and if that number starts to change or you're starting to lose sleep, know that, because there's a golden sleep number for you. For most people it's about 7 hours, some folks it's 8. And you need to get in order to be able to bounce back on a daily basis and put up some good numbers in your training. So track your sleep. Number 2, track your eating habits. If you're in a good place around your training, odds are you're in a pretty good place in terms of eating. You're eating when you work out, and you eat a little bit more perhaps as recovery, but you're good. So when people start binge eating or almost sabotage eating, like they're not feeling so great about their training, so they turn over and just have a bunch of brownies or something like that. That's a great way to really put yourself behind the 8 ball. If you see yourself starting to make poor decisions around the types of food that you're eating, and everyone's got their own level of sort of baseline good nutrition. I'm just saying, if you have a level of nutrition where all of a sudden you used to have 2 brownies a week and now you're having 47, there's an issue there, and that's something as an indicator for you that perhaps you might be doing a little bit too much to yourself on the training side. Okay, so we talked a little bit about sleep. We talked a little bit about your nutrition side of things, and the last thing I think which I want to put out here is just you paying attention to your body as a whole. One of the things that I recommend to most people is when you're in that key marathon training, those last couple weeks, 12 weeks, you get a massage maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, every 2 weeks, where someone else can kind of get in and start poking around in your body and let you know where they feel the tightness and give you a little bit of a different perspective. When you're a first timer, you don't really understand how tough things may be on your body or the changes that are happening. Having someone else on your team like a massage therapist can really give additional insight and perspective on what you're going through, and perhaps some additional advice on how you can adjust your training to make sure that what's right now a small issue doesn't blow up into something bigger. Okay, So at the end of the day, you've got a couple different things you need to manage that I think are critical to your ability to build your fitness, to stay healthy, and to consistently train day in, day out. It's going to build the fitness that's going to allow you to come and have a great race at the end of the day. So as you walk that line, remember, getting tired is the point of all your training. The point of all that training is to have you race. And if getting tired is putting you into a bad space before you get to your event, it's going to lead to you having a subpar performance, both physically and mentally, and leave you desiring something more. So walk that line carefully, monitor your systems, take care of yourself. You can do that for a couple of weeks, get it all dialed in. You'll be all set. You'll be a steamroller just rolling down the hill, unstoppable on your way to that marathon finish line. All right? Coach Patrick signing off. I'll see you in our next video installment. Take care, be safe out there, and I'll see you guys online.